Two guys, one bench.
Shit talking. Strength sports. Combat sports. What is up, everybody?
Welcome to Two Guys, One Bench, where we're 650 pounds of shit talking on a 30-pound bench.
And we talk more shit than internet trolls and YouTube commenters out there. Check out this one on my latest Alex Jones video. This motherfucker had some balls.
Of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
I was expecting that response. Hate it or love it. You still clicked on the video. Just another chai-cum globalist sheep.
To the real Alex Jones, I had to click. A fat loser promising a party was on the thumbnail. That brings me high expectations. Let's just hope your life on the internet is longer than your life on Earth. Because you are as funny as you are healthy, you fat fuck. And don't activate your comment section if you don't like critics.
Now you listen here, Alexander Fleming. I'm gonna hunt your ass down, just like the other Chi-Com, Bilderberg, globalist motherfuckers, just like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, whoever else they're fucking out there, they're aliens or reptilians, I'm gonna get you.
Of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Combat sports.
All right, everybody, we just got off a Zoom call with the one and only Lee, the Gladiator Mean. He is a pioneer in the sport of MMA, and mostly in Canada here. He's known as just the one of the original gangsters. And I just want to say it was an amazing interview because Lee is not only a fighter in the ring or the cage, he's been fighting the whole process of lockdowns and having gyms shut down and trying to mitigate and pivot off things where he's trying to run a gym, maintain a business. But not only that, Darrell, that's not his main objective. It's never money. What is he really concerned about?
He's just more focused on the well-being of his athletes and his community, which is really commendable. And he's honestly definitely a role model and someone people should be looking up to as someone who we take his lead and move forward with. He's shown us not to give too much away, but how we could possibly move forward, because by closing things down, we're affecting more people than are getting sick, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the infection rates and death rates, of course, and the average age of those dying, it's definitely tragic. I mean, it's definitely the older population. However, what about the youth and the people that have so much life to live that are really struggling right now with, addictions issues, drugs, all these things, people are committing suicide. And Lee kind of felt that it was not his choice. He had to do something to get his gym up and running because he is kind of the center of these people and having, a life that they can live inside a gym and use martial arts to destroy all these addictions and problems, anxiety, mental issues, which is 100%, I would say, killing more people in the long run.
Yeah, he's speaking for the people who don't really have a voice, that aren't business owners, that are just everyday people that are just training and looking for an outlet. It's a great interview overall, and I think everyone will really enjoy it.
Yeah. So whether you're a fighter, a lifter, anybody out there, or just wanting to hear a perspective of a business owner in the time, especially a gym owner, in the time of where, COVID-19 is destroying so many lives, including these businesses and gyms that are having to be forced shut down. So sit back and listen to this interview. It's a must-see.
Special guest, MMA legend, the Gladiator, Lee Meehan.
4 fights in the first round for Lee Meehan. You have to wonder if
against Lee Meehan. The Gladiator now unloading on Burns, big left hands.
including winning his fight. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Really appreciate.
Hey, Lee, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Good. How's your evening going? I heard your gym's running, but in an individual basis right now.
Yeah, just trying to modify things with the current lockdowns that the government's imposed on gyms. We're just trying to find a way to make it work so that everyone can still get their training in, and the business can afford to stay open, and people get that exercise they need for physical and the mental health release that they need as well. So we're just trying to do what's best for the students and for the members of the society. So that's our push right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to know, what is it like being the baddest 50-plus-year-old on the planet? Because I would put my fucking life savings on you kicking any 50-plus-year-old guy's ass.
Well, as long as they're tired like me, it'll be pretty fair. So we'll see. I don't ever get to fight guys my age, so I don't really know what it's like, but I still having fun and training hard, and the young guys at the gym push me every day. So that makes it exciting, and knowing you're fighting guys that are younger and, have better cardio and all that stuff. It's just much more of a challenge to, get up for that fight no matter who they are. And just know you gotta do the right things and train smart. Injuries don't heal as fast, and, just got to be smart about what you're doing. And that's the thing now. I have that experience to know when to shut things down, when to turn it up, and what I have to do to be on point. So it makes it really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So you touched on it a little bit on like what you've been doing so that you can maintain everything. Could you go in a little bit more, like maybe some things outside of the gym that you do to keep in such great shape and also just keep that fire in you into your 50s?
Yeah, I just found for me, it was that balance of not overtraining and just that consistency of a little bit every day. So if I just got the mats and rolled light, that's better than nothing. Just sharpening skills, and then, do my stuff at the gym, whether I'm doing boss rounds or I'm sparring or what I'm doing, pick and choose what days I do that. I have a pretty strict lifting regimen to keep the strength up. The biggest thing for me is diet. Like for anybody, I start watching my calories and what kind of calories I'm eating. I do really well when I'm eating more ketogenic style eating. For me, my body responds really well to that, but I'm a huge sugar fiend. So I have to really be careful. Once I get on a kick of sugar, I go crazy. So usually I can cut it out for, 6 weeks for a fight and clean up my diet. But recently I just decided to, just because of how I was feeling, even though I didn't have a fight booked, I got to cut it out again. And so just having a better meal plan and prepping things better, just having more energy throughout the day and just feeling better overall. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when did you start to actually bring that into your repertoire of training? Like, let's say 20 years ago, you weren't too concerned about food or whatnot.
I started competing when I was 32. So late in the game, but that's just when I started doing it. I started doing MMA when I was 32, and I was actually pretty strict on my diet, the chicken and rice and the whole thing. And I did that for several years, and I just got sick of it, where I didn't want to eat anything like that. I just got so tired of prepping meals. I kind of went off it after that for a while, but just having so many big injuries that interfered in my training. I remember when I fought Dan Severn, and I was literally training a half hour twice a week because my back was so bad. I hadn't had surgery. I had a herniated disc in my back, and I just wanted to fight the guy. And it was, I just want to turn down the opportunity, but I literally didn't train very much. And so now, being 53, I literally train every day. I have to make myself take days off where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to lift. I'm not going to spar. I'm not going to roll. I actually need a day of recovery. And, but I just feel like every day I can do something, which is good. So now even a short notice fight, if I take a fight on 2 weeks notice, I'm still training more than I used to train when I first started, when I was fighting these guys that were good and they had big names at the time, but I just wasn't, and I did okay with them, but I didn't have the cardio. I didn't have the endurance to hang with them because of my lack of training. So that consistency in training now and doing those things is the biggest difference for me. And being pretty injury free. I have injuries, but I know I work around them now, and I don't have any big ones that put me out. Like I've had 2 torn biceps, herniated disc in my neck, back surgery, 5 shoulder surgeries. I haven't had any surgeries now for at least 5 years. And I've had my success in the last 5 years. All my fights, I've won 5 of my last 6 fights. But that's because I can train consistently. So, yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you got something special going on down there in Lethbridge with your gym, and just the group of guys, plus your Rumble and the Cage events. I mean, you're like, I'd say Western Canada, the guy that's holding the fort up and providing. Best thing about it is providing these guys a platform to fight. I coach a few of the guys that fight in Rumble, and having that option on top of that, just having the tournaments at your gym where they can, some of the amateur guys can basically hone their skills, and not, those light MMA tournaments that you have are amazing. No one gets hurt. I mean, yeah, it's pretty awesome having you. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, that's my thing from day one when I started the Rumble in 2000 was I wanted a place for athletes to be able to compete. Their family and friends can see what they're doing. Like, what are you guys doing every day at the gym? We don't even know what you're doing, what sport you're in. So it was a chance for them to showcase their skills, and a chance to fight at home, which there wasn't none of that going. There was hardly anywhere to fight back then, right? So now we're, Rumble in the Cage is Canada's longest running MMA show. And it's just about getting that experience. And when I run the tournaments, I do, round robin style. Why? I want guys to get experience. We go to a tournament single elimination, that's great. But if you lose your first match, you make one mistake, or the judges don't like your whatever, then you're out. You paid a lot of money to travel and compete, and you got one match in. You don't even get the experience. So to me, it's about getting that experience for guys that they have to enjoy the sport, camaraderie amongst other teams. They get to meet guys that they, compete with. They're like, oh, I'm in Calgary. Ooh, let's jump in and train with these guys while I'm there. And it just builds that martial arts community where everyone, is on the same team. Even though, we're from different teams, we learn to respect each other, and we're all in it for the same reasons. And that's what makes it good for me. We're building a great community. Yeah,
100%. I mean, I'm really looking forward to hopefully April or in the spring. When the nationals are going on, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that fired up again. And this whole COVID thing is, it just makes me lose my mind that we're shutting society down and everything we're doing because of a virus that 99.8% of the people survive. That just seems ridiculous to me. So,
yeah, like you were saying, it's a little ridiculous. Everybody's getting affected over essentially a cold. And I was just wondering if you'd want to go in depth a little bit more and say how this has impacted not only you, but maybe students and people that you work with. And how is it being in a gym in a sport where you need to be dedicated and not knowing one week from another if you're going to have somewhere to train or if you got to be at home?
Yeah. I think, and I'm a believer that the COVID's real, and there's people that get sick and there's people that die. And there could be, young, healthy people that get sick and die too. But that's the reality of life. We get sick from the flu and the cold and pneumonia, and people die. There's lots of reasons why we die. And then, and the people that are older that have other illnesses that are already killing them, and they get it and they die. It's tragic, but that's the reality. It's tragic when anyone dies, but we're not all going to live. We're dying every day. And you got to decide, are we going to live while we're alive, or are we going to try and prevent everything and live in this bubble and not enjoy what we have left for life? So that's my argument against it, the lockdowns and all that type of stuff. But as far as the gym goes, I mean, when I first said I was going to open my gym in Fort when we were in that full lockdown before they moved us to stage 2, it was because my students were messaging me saying that, they were having problems with addictions, suicide thoughts, all that stuff. And then they started training martial arts with me. They didn't have to, they didn't have those same problems. They were off drugs. They weren't on medication anymore from their doctor for anxiety and stress. They weren't having suicidal thoughts. So it served a purpose for them. It gave them an outlet, and it gave them something to focus on and give them purpose. And then when the lockdown happened, they started messaging me saying, hey, look, I'm starting to fall apart here. I can't train. I can't come to the gym. That was my only outlet that kept me balanced and sane. I'm in a dark spot. And that's when I knew I had to do something, because as a business goes, I know I can survive. I had money put away I was going to try and build a gym, I have my own building I owned. And so I just had to use that to pay the bills, the rent and everything to survive while we were closed. But it wasn't helping my students any that needed that help now. And I'd feel worse if a student of mine took his own life or fell deep into addiction again and then died from that, because there was nowhere to train because I didn't do anything or say anything, because, oh, well, someone 90 years old dying from COVID was more important than my student, dying from suicide because of depression, anxiety and stuff. So I felt it was, it's tragic no matter who dies. And I didn't want to have someone I knew take their life or whatever, or overdose because of something, because I said nothing or did nothing when I knew about it. It was a problem, but didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to become a problem and have people talk shit about me all day because I was doing something that was against the norm. So I got sick of it, and I knew I had to do something. And if people weren't going to stand up and say something, I was going to do it. And no matter what it cost, my business, so be it. Because I was going to be there for my students. So
honestly, that's amazing, because this year, especially, as you know, and what the media doesn't show out there is how much this virus is affecting people, not so much on the level of, I may not feel good, but mentally, and what it's putting through not just athletes but everyone through, and how it's affecting everyone's mental welfare day to day. And knowing that there's people out there like you that are helping people and making sure they have a place to feel better and have that escape, it's really important, especially now.
Yeah, I think it's huge that, everyone that can do something. And there's lots of other ways that people are doing stuff, which is good. It's just, it's a sad reminder that that's around us all the time. And it brings to light lots of areas that we have problems with, the hospitals not being run properly. We recognize the stress that nurses and doctors are under on a regular basis. So we have to appreciate what they're doing and what's considered essential. And now we start looking at stuff like, why aren't gyms essential? We should be focused on health and wellness of people, not give someone a new drug, masks the problem instead of fixing the problem. And, and that's a big part of it to me too, is this is essential, what we're doing. It's far more important that people are healthy, whether they fight or not. It's a sport. We love the sport, and some of it's our career. We love doing it, but that's not the end all be all. I mean, being a martial artist and being healthy is more important to me, the mental side and the physical side. So just having that ability to be focused and have a goal and have someone coach you and that leadership that way. I think it's important that we build that physical and mental toughness that everyone needs to get by in life. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and you said you've opened since 2000 or how long have you been running your gym?
I think it was 95 or something like that when we 90.
Sorry, you started fighting in 2000. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I was teaching. We started with Temple Karate, and we were teaching that for a bunch of years, and we were a commercial gym. And then we started. I was always into combat, and I was working security, so I wanted to know what worked and what didn't work. I didn't want fake stuff, traditional martial arts stuff that didn't work. So when I started seeing about kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, and I ran into Boss Rutten, and so I wanted to train with him. Because down here there was no one really to train with that knew MMA, so I had to fly to California and train with him. And then I met Roy Harris, and so I started training jiu-jitsu with him back in the same year in 2000. So it was just good. My first fight, I remember. I look at my students now; they've been training for a year, and they know way more than I knew for my first fight. Like I didn't know any mount escape except bridge and roll. The only mount escape I know, it's just crazy what I didn't know. And I was willing to fight, but I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I did fight on my mouthpiece and go, kind of how I still fight, but that's just the way it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've watched a bunch of your fights, and you're an animal in there. And whether you're, you either giving it or taking it, you don't care. You just go nuts. And some of the submissions you pulled off are pretty rare too. So awesome to see that. And I love the connection with Boss Rutten, the Japanese connection, all that pancration fighting. That's pretty amazing. So, so now that we're moving on, I just want to know, you already talked a lot about, how it's impacted the community and all the problems that have occurred. I know what you did, that push you gave the government a push to actually start opening up gyms again. And a lot of them got caught off guard because they did it so quickly at the beginning. So I just want to know, I mean, you're kind of a leader in the industry. What do you see? How do how do you plan to integrate back into this non-lockdown kind of situation?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to, how far you want to push and jeopardize your business, and how far you're going to push to save your students and save the sport and save your business at the same time. So it's kind of it's always a roller coaster, and you're not always sure how far you should go with it. But I just got to the point where I'm so sick of it that I kind of just said, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to push. And if they want to fight about it, let's fight about it. If you want to go to court, let's go to court. I'm not going to sit around anymore and let you dictate what I do. I was never a conspiracy person, or, I was always about law enforcement and work with law enforcement. So, and I still do. I just got to the point where enough's enough, and the government can't dictate everything that we do. And I just felt like whatever happens, happens. If I lose everything because of it, at least I did it on my terms, and I'm doing what I feel is right. And if I lose everything because I was doing what was right, well, then I'm okay with that. I'll move on and do something else. I'll be a greeter at Walmart. I don't care. I love martial arts. I'll always do that, but I'm not going to bend over and take it like that, because again, the whole point about being a martial artist is learning how to defend yourself and stand up against both strong in your body and in your mind. And bowing down to the government, all these issues, is not doing that in my opinion. It's like, no, I know it's wrong. Everyone else can see that, oh, that's not right, what's going on. But, you don't want to make waves and don't want to question things. I'm like, no, I'm going to question things, because they have to prove. They were showing me the numbers and the science said that they were right. I'm like, no, you're right. The people are dying. And, a 30-year-old guy walking down the street drops dead from the virus. Hey, man, we better be careful on everything. But there's no common sense in any of the approaches they've done. There's rules for all these different things. We're allowed to do this and they're allowed to do that. This store's allowed to be open. This one's not. No rhyme or reason to any, the mandates that have been done. And that's my frustration. If everybody was shut down, no matter what you did, and all you could do is you had to go get your groceries at this time, and it was all set. Okay, I get it. Yeah. But why could one business be open? Costco or Walmart can be open, making millions, and then a local grocery, small one, where it can't be open. So I just found that frustrating. That again, none of that stuff is based on science, and that's why I refuse to accept the mandates that they're doing, because they're just making it up as they go. They're trying to appease people and pressure from the snowflakes that whine and cry. I'm like, well, I'm going to whine and cry too then, because the squeaky wheel is getting the grease. And what are the snowflakes going to do about it? They're not going to stand up and fight for what they do. They can't, So if they want to push, I'll push back, and that's how that's where I'm at with it. Is I'm willing to fight. I'm willing to physically fight someone about it. I'm willing to go to court about it, and I'm willing to prove that I'm right. And if you don't want to fight for what you believe in, well, then you won't get what you want. I'll get what I want. So, yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. That's awesome. I don't think we can get a better response than that. Awesome, Lee. Well, thanks for taking your time with us, and look forward to putting this interview out and letting everybody know that the baddest 50-year-old on the planet is also one of the coolest guys I know. So.
We try to have fun. That's all we can do. Yeah,
man. It was great getting to talk to you and get a little insight, and even better to hear that there's guys like you out there taking care of athletes and helping his community down in Alberta.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, Lee. Have a good night.
All right.
Strength sports.
Choices and consequences.
Misfit.
All right, lots of stuff in the strength sports going on. Definitely, we wanted to recap what happened last weekend, the following weekend at Shell Shock. Our sponsor, Misfit Powerlifting, sponsors an amazing group of athletes. One of them we want to give a shout out, who had a tremendous performance, including some big records set. So who are you giving a shout out to, Darrell?
I want to give a big shout out to Dane Dillon, and I don't even know where to start. It was just an amazing performance overall. Since I got into powerlifting 2.5 years ago, I've known about Dane Dillon, because when I got into 100% raw, every record I wanted, Dane had already set and set him as a junior. So when you're in the open division, everyone knows how impressive that is. But let's get to the recap of his weekend. So he started it off with an 804 squat in sleeves, not wraps. Followed that up with a 518 bench and finished everything off with an 887 deadlift. So the significance of these lifts, the total overall was the second biggest total of all time in Canadian powerlifting history.
Yeah.
The deadlift, not only did it beat the best deadlift of all time record, which was Dane's, he upped it even more. So now Dane is responsible for the two biggest pulls of all time in Canadian history.
Wow.
And I think that also he ended with about a 561 Wilks, which makes him also the #1 powerlifter in Canada. So just a ridiculous weekend, and it was very impressive to see.
Yeah, definitely. I watched all the lifts he made, and all of them were, done with ease. So he's definitely one of the top guys in the world right now. So glad to have him part of the Misfit family, and not only that, part of Team Alberta, where we eat lots of meat and we drink and we lift weights. Okay, so check out the video of his performance here.
Come on, Dane. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah! Fuck yeah!
Okay, big weekend. It was the World's Strongest Man 2020. And all the biggest men of the fucking planet showed up. Ryan Shaw, JF Garone, the other big giants. And a little Russian guy won.
You're champion.
Kicked their ass pretty bad. Darrell?
Well, wasn't Russian. He was from the Ukraine, Alexei Novikov. For those of you following it, you already know by now that Alexei Novikov was a huge underdog coming into this competition. He's a great competitor, but not even one of the biggest guys out there, just fucking super consistent the entire time, and walked away with a World's Strongest Man title.
Yeah, and it was really good watching all that live on the internets and TVs, and was broadcasted perfectly, and everybody there sitting there watching, having fun, popcorns, drinks, beers. It was a great time. Oh, wait, Darrell, that was a terrible time because we're all sitting at our fucking computer.
Hitting refresh, watching some guys on there that are fapping between fucking flights and trying to decide who the hell is going to win this thing rather than watching it live. Yeah, they need to seriously reconsider how they're doing shit. I understand that TV channels have all the rights to it, but it's fucking ridiculous. Why don't you do it either pay-per-view style or stream it like it's 2020, get with the fucking times. Everybody's waiting. Oh, we can't give out videos because we got to release this on TV. You can't keep anything a fucking secret when you have strongmen there shooting for their YouTube channels, and you got people shooting on their phones giving out results. If you want to keep it secret, you can't have anyone there.
But Terrell, it's an English tradition during Christmas to watch the World's Strongest Man.
Well, unless the tradition is given a shitty product that no one's looking forward to, you need to fucking change it, because who's going to wait around and go on radio silence for months until this thing comes to television?
Yeah, exactly. So it is called the World's Strongest Man, not the English Christmas breakfast fucking show. So let's get a live stream. We're all into this sport now. Everybody's paying attention. There's some eyes on the sport. Eddie and Thor, believe it or not, that fight is bringing some eyes to the sport. And so we really got to, try to figure this situation out, because that was painful all weekend. I was asking Darrell, man, you got to stream. You got to in, man. I was itching. I was scratching. I needed my strong man. I couldn't get it, though.
Yeah, they need to change something with the quickness, because this is ridiculous. If all I'm going to do to find World's Strongest Man is hit refresh and not actually watch anything, it's absolutely pointless to be having a event for fans.
Awesome. Yeah. So get your shit together, World's Strongest Man. We really need you to figure that out.
just ain't right. There's definitely some fuckery afoot.
All right, guys, we're going to bring you a new segment, Fuckery Afoot.
Yeah, because there's often every week a little bit of fuckery afoot, and we like to shed some light on the fuckery afoot of the week. And this week, it's going to be a little bit of a performance where you just can't fucking believe it, Darrell.
So, no hate on the performance. I'm hating on everything that maybe went into it. A little bit of fuckery afoot. Ashton Ruska, however the fuck you say his name.
I'm 100% natural.
So this guy's a 105 kilo lifter and he totaled 950 kilos. That's fucking impressive if you're tested or untested. But he happens to be an IPF lifter. So apparently, you know, they're drug free, apparently. So what's so impressive about this? Oh, the fact that he squats 793, the fact that he's bench 457 while mentioning he's injured his pec 3 times this year, or that he pulls an 844 deadlift to end the meet. Well, you might sit at home, Darrell, you're just being a fucking hater. No, I'm just calling out shit that's fuckery. Why is this fuckery? It's number 5 all time in the 220 and under across all federations. That is 4 pounds behind Dan Green. So we know he's a non-tested section. We know Kevin Oak, he's a massive lifter. It's only 6 pounds behind him. So you're telling me that PDs only add 4 to 6 pounds on a total? That seems like fuckery to me. And it also puts you ahead of guys like Jeremy Hamilton and Joe Sullivan. Joe Sullivan's a fucking unreal lifter and been doing it a long time. You're telling me that you're naturally so gifted that you're better than anybody regardless of the federation.
Yeah.
I understand if it's one lift you're gifted at, but not all 3. That's fucking ridiculous. If you could just beat everybody regardless if they're untested, then you would see people throw out World's Strongest Man that are natural, but you fucking don't.
No, I mean, this guy looks like a mini Larry Wheels down to the bone, including his dumb laugh. I don't know about that part. But what I'm going to say is there's no way in hell this guy is clean, in my opinion. And if he is, well, he's a fucking demigod. So just knowing, you know, guys that are tested and untested guys aren't even hitting these numbers. So I know there's always the argument, but these athletes are different these days and blah, 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 blah. I say, fuck that. Get that needle, pull it out of your ass, or stick it back in and inject a little more and fucking get in an untested federation and quit cheating the system, because there's people like Darrell and I that aren't that good. So we don't like that because we're not about to jam that fucking trembolone sandwich down our throat just yet.
Yeah, and just because someone's untested, I don't give a fuck if they choose that route, but I respect it because they're being honest. Now, there's guys like this, Ashton, that are highly questionable, and it seems like there's a lot of fuckery going into it. Man looks like a bodybuilder.
Definitely some fuckery afoot.
Come on! Make some noise, everybody, make some noise, get it up! Let's do a jersey for Ashton.
Something just ain't right. There's definitely some fuckery afoot.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for 2 Guys, 1 Bench.
Catch us next week when we have Rants of the Week and we talk more on the strength sports and maybe some more fuckery afoot.
Damn right. And don't forget to eat big,
train hard,
and always be
ready.
2 Guys, 1 Bench. Shit talking. Strength sports. Combat sports. Choices and consequences. Misfit. War smelling salts. Bottle insanity.